Welcome, everybody, to the January 18th episode of The Con Guy. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I hope everybody remembered this day. If you are not watching this on January 18th, we are taping the night of Martin Luther King Jr. night. And just always remember, peace, my friends. Peace, love, and let's just all have so much respect for each other. In the first half of tonight's show, we will be discussing WandaVision. Does it deliver? And we're not just talking about babies. After more than a year since we last saw anything from Marvel Studios, WandaVision arrives on Disney Plus to kick off Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Plus, and then in the second half of the show, we will give some time to discussing some in-person conventions that are currently scheduled. Whether or not they will stay scheduled, we don't know. But we're going to talk about it anyways. When will it be safe to go back to the convention halls? Welcome, everybody.
Soon.
Welcome, everybody. So glad to see everybody tonight. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. To my left, my right. So this way. Cheeseman, your way.
Hello. It is Cheeseman here, media director of The Con Guy, wearing my new Spider-Man shirt my mom got me for Christmas. I think my mom may be watching right now. So, Mom, look, I'm wearing the shirt you got me.
Next is Luke.
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm a regular here, a contributor to theconguy.com, and this is not a particularly special shirt, but I do have some fresh Lego with me. These are Mindstorm's mini-bots.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
All right, that's very cool. Wait, Derek, let's see it again.
Yeah, well, it's a set that came when I got the Upside Down and Central Perk. This was a free gift they were doing to go with it all. So it's this whole set of Mindstorm's minis, which I will try and show you without dumping Lego out.
That's very
You
cool.
nerd.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
nerd.
All
The
right.
kids are in bed, so I'm playing with Lego.
That's the way parenting should be.
Yeah, that's the only time you can get out the good toys is when the kids are in bed.
All right.
Notice I did not say asleep. There's still some chattering going on.
All right. Katie.
I'm Katie. You're not the only girl anymore because we've got the lovely Danae right there. I also made some Legos like a week ago. We haven't had a show. It's the new Hufflepuff. It's the Hufflepuff set of the book set that they have for Lego. This is the Hufflepuff one, and it folds out into the herbology classroom. And then each set has two minifigs of like the students, and then the professor that's with it is the head of that house. So like I have Sprout because she's the head of Hufflepuff House. And there are four of them, and they all fold. The whole scene folds into itself, so it's easy to store. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
That is so cool. Lego keeping us organized.
It was a Christmas money purchase.
All right, who's next to Katie?
Hi, I'm Danae. I'm here. I'm an author and I guess somewhat regular hangout-y of Con Guy Happy Hour now. Also, I want to point out that Ben and I are twinning tonight because we're both wearing Batman. Look at that. We can stand back to back.
Maybe I should switch back. Although, can I wear Spider-Man and Batman together?
Yeah, that works.
Sure, why not?
But it's not a shirt, so it doesn't match.
We don't say that you can't watch one and you can watch the other. Remember, Luke?
That's right.
Enough
we all
money
want
will
to
bring them
coexist.
together in one movie.
Yes, we want to get along. We want to get along.
Yeah, we cannot stamp out hate with hate.
Yeah.
Finally, good old buddy Ben.
Hey everyone, it's me, old buddy Ben. Tonight, my red cup is brought to you by the delicious taste of Pepsi Twist, which they don't make in the United States anymore, and I have to special order this from Europe.
Whoa.
Hey, is
Humble
anybody?
brag. I ordered Pepsi from Italy. Here's the thing. Pepsi Twist came out, what? Blood good!
Blood good.
Yeah, good to see you. Jonathan Wilkinson, I still need to watch WandaVision. I also thought it was called Wanda and Vision. Very confusing. Jonathan, watch us tonight, or, spoiler warning, you can watch tomorrow after you get done watching it. Oh, look who's here, Luke.
Hey, Mom, look. The shirt. I don't know if you saw the beginning. I'm wearing the Spider-Man shirt.
That's Luke's mom.
Hi, Luke's mom.
I dressed myself today.
Luke's in his 30s.
Hey, I'm just going to throw it out there. Is there any cool news that anybody has heard this week that we want to talk about before we jump into? Oh, and Jonathan says, "Nah, I'm cool with the spoilers." Awesome, because that's all it is tonight. Anybody heard any cool news? Anything?
Yeah. So Godzilla versus Kong, it has been moved up to March.
Yep.
So we're getting that a lot sooner, and we saw a couple little short clips and a teaser that Warner Brothers released for all the stuff that's coming out in theaters and HBO Max simultaneously this year. There was a lot. We saw like Godzilla coming up out of the water and Kong punching him in the face, saying, "No, get back in that water, Godzilla."
It was awesome. I was so stoked when I saw that. I saw like somebody say, "There's a trailer for Godzilla versus Kong," and I immediately got online and saw all of 2.5 seconds of that big scene there. It looked pretty epic, but I'm excited.
But we get a whole lot of really quick clips of everything that they're putting out. So it was one short teaser for like 15 different titles. But we got a little quick shot of the new Suicide Squad. We got something mentioning this new Matrix prequel or whatever it is.
I found out that Alexander Skarsgård is in that movie, and I didn't know that Alexander Skarsgård was in the new Godzilla movie, so I'll definitely be watching it. Yep. That's all I know. Other than that, it's Godzilla versus Kong.
And here's a cool tweet from James Gunn, because his Suicide Squad was previewed, and then he tweeted this out. 5 months ago, while quarantining, I started writing a TV series, mostly for fun, in between Guardians drafts and cutting the Suicide Squad. I wrote the first season of Peacemaker in 8 weeks, and now here I am on the first day of shooting. Life is surreal. Let's go. So he's got a new series. James Gunn's got a new series he's doing. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
I don't know anything about Peacemaker, but I just love what James Gunn does, so I'm excited about that.
It's not really like entertainment news, but it is kind of in the same world as conventions, in the sense that Disneyland announced that they were no longer going to be doing annual passes.
That's huge.
Which, honestly, given the climate of the world, I am not surprised. And as someone who has been an annual pass holder and someone who used to work at Disney, it did get a little crazy. It did get a little crazy because there were a lot of people who are just annual pass holders, and the whole day might sell out if they have to do limited capacity. They need to still get people who aren't annual pass holders there. So I understand it, and I did get a little crazy. So I'm actually think it'll be okay.
Well, you know what, though? I think they kind of had to do that with nobody's using. I mean, it's kind of like a virtuous thing, I guess you could say, that if somebody is not being able to use their annual pass, then why charge them for that annual pass? I think it's a smart decision. I know that they say they're coming back with a new kind of program that is membership based. So Ben has his hand up.
Yeah. Excuse me. Pardon me. I have thoughts. I was reading some breakdowns on this, and the annual pass program is close to 40 years old. There was a lot about a lot that probably needed to change about it. And part of it was Disneyland is just getting overcrowded in normal, times. Yeah. And they kept raising the prices of tickets and raising the prices of annual passes, and people just kept paying it. And I do know one thing they were trying to avoid, to Katie's point, is they were trying to avoid just being overrun when they do reopen with overcapacity. Because everybody and their dog who has a season pass is going to want to go in there. Now, they haven't necessarily. It was complicated. My season pass expired shortly after everything shut down, and I was refunded the money that I, paid towards it that I didn't, get access to the park. Some people had the option of continuing to pay for their annual pass, and then that kind of counting towards after the park opened again or something like that. It wasn't what I was doing, so I didn't really pay much attention to it. But yeah, I think it's smart of them, because there were a lot of things that probably needed to be changed about the annual pass program for Disneyland. It sucks because it was so easy just to get the pass and do the payment plan. You had to pay a chunk up front and then just keep renewing it and paying a monthly thing, which was really nice depending on which tier you wanted. But as somebody who saw the gross population of the parks, it probably is a program that needs some changing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they replace it with, this membership program or whatever it is.
There's also, not all annual pass holders are this way, but there are a lot of annual pass holders who are a little snooty and a little entitled, and it kind of has tainted the image for annual pass holders as well. I mean, not everybody is. I mean, I know Ben and Bree have been pass holders. I've been a pass holder, but there are the few that can make the whole thing sour. So I think it'll be nice to have a step back and be like, let's rework this.
Mm-hmm. So. And I also, for those who may be, not so familiar with our podcast here, we are just want to always say thank you very much to that hashtag show and the hashtag show video channels for hosting us. They are fantastic. They're such good people. And if you haven't had a chance to check out that hashtagshow.com, they've got a couple of, they've always got some good content on there, but I'm on their site right now. And I just want to, the rumor, Charlie Cox has finished shooting Spider-Man 3. Charlie Cox, everybody know, why you excited today?
What?
Why are you so excited?
I am a really big Charlie Cox Daredevil fan.
Yep.
You guys may, I'm hearing myself echo. Hold on. I don't know how much I've talked about on here, but I have a cat who I actually found in the road, and she had like an eye problem at the time. So she is named Cat Murdoch, the devil of Sam's Kitchen. And Netflix Marvel, I was a huge fan, and I am just so excited because I really did not like what the direction they went in with that Daredevil. And I'm so excited to bring him back in, a Spider-Man movie. And it's just, I'm really excited.
Me too.
The way season 1, 2, or 3 went.
I loved season 1. I will admit I did not finish season 2.
Okay.
I love season 2, but I have not seen season 3.
Yeah,
Me either.
I want to go and see. Is it still on Netflix or is it gone?
Well, it's on Netflix. Yes, it's still up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, they canceled the show.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not making more, but it's still there.
And as far as I know, it's not going to Disney Plus because it was made by Netflix, but I don't know for sure.
What's cool is the Charlie Cox, his appearance as Mr. Lawyer Murdoch in Spider-Man 3. I wonder if that pretends some future appearance of Daredevil somewhere else. Let's hope so.
I'm down.
That would be great.
I absolutely loved. I loved the Netflix Marvel shows for the most part, especially the first seasons of each of them. I even liked Iron Fist somewhat.
I was the only one that I know. Yeah.
I wasn't entirely mad at Iron Fist. I feel like they could have done so much more with it, but I really liked the character, but
yeah. Also on that hashtag,
I really think we could fill an entire episode with just each of us talk. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I really think we could fill a whole episode with each of us talking about our favorite Netflix Marvel and just debating each other on which one is the best. Because I think that I would love that. I just to throw that out there.
What's that, Katie?
Oh, that's a good question.
Marvel TV in general or just Netflix? Because, I mean, I have one show that's not Netflix that I watched till the end. So
Shield.
Right. Agents of Shield was really good.
I mean, I might have been on the after show for the last season. I mean,
and I know Ben was a big fan of Agents of Shield, Marvel's Agents of Shield as well.
I love Agents of Shield. I still have not watched the last season because I'm not convinced the show's over. I won't believe it. I won't believe that the show has ended.
I too was in denial, Ben. I too was in denial. So
I know somebody who did that with the Harry Potter series. They refused to watch the final film because they want to save it for some special life occasion because they can't bear to be done with the Harry Potter film series.
Harry Potter's never going to be done. Are you kidding me?
Speaking of Marvel Television, hashtag show.com also has an article about Ethan Hawke joins Moon Knight series as the villain. This is kind of cool. Ethan Hawke is in a superhero series. I think that's fantastic.
I love Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke.
Anyway.
When's the last time he did something?
Well, he was just in like a really cool, like a something.
Yeah, he just did Good Lord Bird.
Yeah.
Cinemax or Stars, one of them. That one's significant to me because I grew up in Kansas, and John Brown is who Ethan Hawke plays in it, who was a freedom fighter leading up to the Civil War in Kansas to make Kansas a free state. And he was a Looney Tune, but he's considered a war hero in Kansas. Yeah. He's considered a villain in the South, primarily.
Well, his big famous raid was in West Virginia, where Danae and I are from.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
And that raid actually accomplished nothing, and a free black man was the only person that died. Just throwing that out there. Sorry, I'll shut my history mouth now.
No, history is important. History is important. But last thing before we jump into WandaVision, this is something that's going to be. Is anyone else a fan of Alan Tudyk like I am?
Yes.
Yes.
Very much so.
So he's got a new show coming on Sci-Fi called Resident Alien, where he is an alien, not like from across some border somewhere. He is an outer space alien, and guess who is the alien hunter in the show? This makes me so excited. Have you guys heard?
Nathan Fillion?
No, Linda Hamilton.
Oh, nice.
That's quite a pairing. That's gonna be fun. Yeah.
I love Alan Tudyk, though. I mean, yeah, everything I've seen Alan Tudyk, and I just absolutely adore. So.
Okay.
Derek doesn't like him.
He was so angry he had to,
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk's one of my. I love that he does sci-fi. I love that we are the. By the way, if you want to check out anything that we're talking about tonight, go to theconguy.com. Theconguy.com. Alan Tudyk did a show called The Con Man.
Con Man, yeah.
And I remember when we first started theconguy.com, we almost got that website, but we couldn't get it. And I was sitting having a drink at Long Beach Comic Expo or Long Beach Comic Con, and the two producers of Con Man were sitting next to me. I bought them a drink. Alan wasn't there, and I explained our dilemma, and they said, yeah, they had a hard time buying it because they were fighting with somebody online about it. It was us. It was kind of cool.
No, I was actually background on Con Man.
You did?
Yeah, I did background at one of the conventions.
That's cool.
They shot it down in Long Beach.
Very cool. Real quick. Look. Let me see.
No, Brad is messing.
I was like,
Too soon, Brad. Too soon.
Too soon.
We're probably not going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's a little bit dark, and also it's things are not.
That's not our business. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
But Brad, I did laugh. That was
this isn't TMZ, Brad.
Although there's a Clarice show now.
drinking sweet tea out of a red cup, but it's still a red cup. Brad is in Virginia right now. Brad, I hope everything's going well. Brad's been sending us really cool videos, like of a lot of the toys and things he's finding down there, and he's finding like all these cool like foods and stuff. And he knows it kind of like sends Luke over the moon when he sends them pictures of like mac and cheese and stuff like that.
Over the moon. Again, joining us from Biscuitville in Virginia right now.
All right, guys. Marvel Studio presents WandaVision, a blend of classic television and the Marvel Cinematic Universe in which Wanda Maximoff and Vision, two superpowered beings living idealized suburban lives, begin to suspect that everything is not as it seems. WandaVision is the very first Marvel Studio series on Disney+. And according to Kevin Feige, he says that Wanda and Vision are two of our most powerful and complex heroes, and this series is a perfect expansion point for MCU storylines. All right, we're going to follow the same rule we did with Wonder Woman. We're starting with Circle of Love. What did you guys like about this?
I will tell you guys right now, I still have 16 minutes left in the second episode. I had to watch after I got kids to bed, and then I had to keep checking on them because, they keep wailing. They're fine, but they make noise. Nobody's crying right now, just so you know. Yeah, but I love the weirdness of it. I like this whole this whole mystery. You're trying to figure out what's actually going on. You're not really sure what reality is, where they actually are. If is Vision alive, or is Wanda just dreaming about all this? And I like how we're getting little hints of things. I'm trying to take mental notes, even though I had to keep cleaning up the house while I was watching. Kind of felt like Wanda myself, except I don't have powers, so it was a lot harder. And we're getting hints of the Stark stuff, and then we saw a watch that was made by Hydra, and we're like, oh, I should have paid attention to with a time that was on the watch, and it said 1,000 meters or something, and I want to know what all this means, and if it means anything, or if it's going to be Lost, and none of it's going to pay off, which probably not.
Hey, but Lost is my favorite show.
I loved Lost. I was okay with the fact that some things never paid off. But I'm really interested to see what they do. If all these little hints mean anything. Right now, it's paused on the screen up here, and I'm seeing the department store, and I'm like, maybe there are Easter eggs in there. I should be looking around. This woman has a donkey costume and is just holding the head. I wonder if that means something. But I overanalyze everything. That's part of the fun.
No, with this series, I think that's a good part. By the way, Brad has a question. Is the whole series of WandaVision available, or are new episodes released weekly like Mandalorian?
The first 2 episodes are available, and then they're weekly.
Yep. So we currently have the first 2 episodes. And all right, Ben, I know you have some thoughts about this. I'd love to hear them.
Well, first of all, I really, really enjoyed WandaVision, and I don't know. I'm willing to admit it could be due to Marvel withdrawal. That's entirely possible, but I do think
that is the sole reason, and there's no other one.
No, I know I'm gonna hard disagree with Danae.
I can't wait.
But listen, the thing is, they based the first 2 episodes. It's such a great thing. If you're like me, you spent a lot of time growing up watching Nick at Night. And I watched Bewitched. I watched The Dick Van Dyke Show. I watched Mary Tyler Moore and Rhoda and all these shows from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and I Love Lucy and all this. And so obviously, and the other side of it, to address what Jonathan was saying earlier in the comments, is that it's called WandaVision, which is based off of a comic series that came out within the last few years from Marvel called WandaVision. And it's in the style there it is right there. It's in the style of a 50s, early 60s sitcom. And so the fact that they really leaned hard into this idea of the Dick Van Dyke Show in the first episode, and then later on in the 60s, it was very 50s in the first episode, very early 60s in the second episode, Bewitched. And it is weird and it is confusing. And to Derek's point, it is like, what is going on? Why is this happening in this way? And I also think the theatricality of it, or the live theater style of so many of those old sitcoms that used to be, I mean, sitcoms were very live theater style from the 50s through the 90s. And they have not given Elizabeth Olsen enough to do in the movies, because she is fantastic in this show. She's great. And I loved watching her. And of course, Vision, Paul Bettany is, I just like watching Paul Bettany, and they give them so much dialogue and banter that they don't have in the Avengers movies as characters, as Wanda Maximoff and Vision, that this is so fun to watch them in this kind of environment and doing these silly things that they wouldn't do in the MCU, and then wondering why. And then, again, to Derek's point, looking for all the Easter eggs. I'm going to finish. Sorry.
Cool. Anybody else on this part of the wagon right now?
I'll talk about some things that I loved. Obviously, as a costumer, I did love the costumes, but I did also want to know what they looked like not in black and white, because I'm also really intrigued by how stuff looks in black and white versus how it looks in color. So that's just a costuming nerd thing for me. So I did like the costuming, with the exception of Wanda's outfit in the second episode. I thought it was super ugly, but that was just me.
Which one?
The pants and sweater?
The one that was like a tank. It was like a tank top. It was like a top and the pants.
Oh,
the top I did not like. I just didn't think it was very flattering. And of course, you find out why later on, like why it is the way it is. Like you find out, but I still was just like distracted by it. And costuming should definitely not distract. You just do not want that. But I did appreciate and respect the fact that Marvel took a risk and did not do something that they normally do. Whether or not I think it paid off, well, time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But those are some of the things I loved. And I'm obsessed with color theory. So, of course, when you start to see the pops of color, and I don't want to spoil too much for Derek, but I think if you've seen part of episode 2, you probably already saw it. They have pops of color and pops of light. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but like in I can't think of the name of it right now. The movie that
Pleasantville.
That was commentary on the Holocaust.
Oh,
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
Completely
definitely not pleasant.
I know.
Also part of the Seinfeld universe.
So in Schindler's List, there's only 2 sources of non-black and white that they used. It was red, which was to tell a story so that you could follow certain events in the movie, and they showed the lighting effects. And if you watch WandaVision, at least from what I noticed, you see the color of the light sometimes, but that's it. So you see the lights and then you see the pops of color. And as someone who loves color theory, I'm like, that is telling the story in itself. And that is very entertaining to me.
Petey, have you seen Pleasantville, with Reese Witherspoon and was it Tobey Maguire?
Parts of it, and if I did see it in its entirety, it's been a very long time.
Was it Tobey Maguire or was it
Yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure it was Tobey Maguire.
Okay,
I haven't seen it, but Jenna Fisher talks about it in her book.
Yeah, I thought Pleasantville was really great. It was a black and white world. They got transported to a black and white world, and by finding their passions, they would awaken color. And it was really cool the way they did that. And this one, WandaVision, they did that a couple of times. In the first episode, the red flashing light, I guess that's the only color you saw. And Derek, have you seen it where there's color in the second episode?
Yeah, I don't know if I didn't see the flashing light in the first one because I think I had to get some things around. I probably will need to watch these again to catch some more Easter eggs and things. And I want Laura to see them. She had to be out tonight. But we have some interesting comments. Thank you, Luke's mom.
Yeah. Speaking of wardrobe, my mom said those pants used to be called pedal pushers because you could go ride your bike in them. In that era, women mostly wore dresses.
Yes, I didn't mind the pants. I did know that they were like, they chose to make a decision with the pants, which I did like. I just didn't care for the top of that costume.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think they were also called clam diggers.
Oh, yeah.
But pedal pushers is much
Are we
more
allowed to say that on here? Are we going to get an E rating now?
Yes.
We're saying clam digger?
My mom's watching, Derek. This isn't a Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even know what that means. I'm
hearing
sorry.
Jim say clam
Don't
digger.
watch it
It
too
doesn't
much,
mean
Kevin
anything,
Smith.
but it kind of sounds like it could be something dirty.
Yeah. So, by the way, and Brad brought up a cool point. Here's the thing that I did think was really cool about this. And Brad says that he's looking forward to seeing the Full House reference and homage that Olsen mentioned in an interview. I actually I have the media kit for WandaVision, and they have some pictures from that episode when Agnes, the nosy next door neighbor, and she's dressed all in her 80s, her hair up, and she's got the whole 80s garb on. It's really kind of funny. I think that part of this is super cool, the way like each episode they're getting closer to present day. They're going through different genres of sitcoms. And for those of you who don't know what a sitcom is, it's where people I know. No, it's one of those things. Back in the day, it's like, Friends, Seinfeld, where people sit in the audience and laugh out loud.
If you watch CBS, they have their multi-camera sitcoms are coming back. Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory
they never
Didn't
left.
really go away.
Yeah.
Well, they moved.
The Ranch on Netflix was also one.
The Ranch was a sitcom?
Yeah,
The
they
Big
filmed
Show
it
show?
on
I didn't know that.
They've moved a lot towards Mr. Iglesias on Netflix is also a multi-camera sitcom. For a long period in the early aughts, they moved towards multi-camera sitcoms like Scrubs and stuff like that, where there wasn't a live audience. But there's something really nice about live sitcoms. My wife and I have been binging through Cheers.
Yeah.
Recently, and it's so good. It's so good.
Speaking of your wife, she has a cool comment here that I didn't realize. The director of WandaVision also used the same special effects that were used in each era.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Meaning, Ben, do you know what she's talking about here?
Well, just like Wanda's powers with the floating plates and that sort of stuff. I mean, you look at it, they didn't use CGI in this. Yeah. I mean, they did at some points, but like when she's like trying to make dinner and using her magic, like in Bewitched or whatever, it's clearly like fishing line, like holding these plates and stuff up.
It's all her magic and stuff that she used.
Yeah, Bree just burst in and said, it's all her magic and stuff.
And just little
that's
sparkles.
what it was.
The little sparkles on there where Vision is walking through a chair and stuff. I mean, it's very much in that style. It looks really...
Well, because
it's great. They
Van Dyke walks through the chair instead of tripping over it.
Right.
Yeah.
Bree, we would love to see you.
No, I'm not wearing makeup.
I'm not either.
All right. Wait, here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, for crying out loud, you look great.
For crying out loud.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Speaking of old sitcom words, oh, for crying out loud.
My hair has gotten ridiculously long.
It's beautiful. I am jealous.
Thank you. I'm also growing out my side shave, so it's like in this awkward, poofy kid state. It's very strange. Oh well.
Oh well.
Good to see you. Hey, Bree, real quick, what did you think of WandaVision?
Oh, I loved it. I can't wait. I was super here for it. I love all of the 50s situation comedies. I Love Lucy, Bewitched, Dick Van Dyke, Green Acres. That was always my jam. And so I thought it was really awesome seeing a Dick Van Dyke episode and then a Bewitched episode. And like they took the sets from those shows. And I was like, okay, I'm here for this. So I'm excited to see what other eras and shows they're going to pull from.
Cool. Apparently, Dick Van Dyke is a consulting producer on the series.
Oh,
Wow.
well, that makes sense.
Also, the Dick Van Dyke Show absolutely holds up if you decide to watch it again. Because I was doing that at one point. I went back, I watched Dick Van Dyke. I've been watching Mary Tyler Moore. I've been watching Rhoda.
I'll just mention we've been watching Cheers.
Yeah, we've been doing Cheers. And then Mr. Mayor is the new Ted Danson show.
We watched the first 3 episodes of Mr. Mayor on NBC, and it's pretty funny, especially if you live in LA.
Yeah, it's just a love letter to Los Angeles.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to bring Nick at Night back. Nick at Night used to be so good, and then
Nick
TV
at
Land
Night-
kind of took over,
Nick
but
at
not as
Night
good.
is now like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Keenan and Kel. Like,
That is
Weird.
so
Keenan
weird.
Kel?
Doesn't make sense to me at all.
yeah.
That is so weird.
I'm just like, no,
And Friends.
It made me feel old. I was listening to something on TikTok and they're like, this is for the older TikTok generation, like people who were born in the late 90s. And I was like,
exactly where you were
I
going
see
with
myself
that,
out
Bree.
with my cane.
The older TikTok generation. That exists?
I knew
The older
exactly.
TikTok
But
generation.
older is classified as being born in the late 90s, Jim.
Yes.
Then what? Then I am stinking ancient. Oh
You're
my
the Gandalf, Jim.
I was like, why?
Hey, by the way, real quick news on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Did you hear they're coming back? It's coming
They're
back.
doing a reunion, right?
They did the reunion that aired on HBO Max.
No, a new show is coming back.
Oh.
However, it's coming back as a 1-hour drama.
What?
Yes.
Is it based off that trailer they released a few years ago, like the indie short, where it was like a trailer for a drama? Fresh Prince? I don't know. We're off
I don't
topic.
know.
I'm gonna go back and watch my Night Stalker documentary.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Oh, hi, doggy.
All right, guys. Listen, I know that Danae is just busting. She's just busting. We don't want her to be contained anymore. Danae, come on, bring it at us. What do you
got
think?
opinions.
I have like a planned reply, but I'm welcome to people interjecting as long as I can get my thoughts out.
Okay.
I will say one thing first. I have in the WandaVision relationship that's existed since Civil War, I have trouble getting past the fact that Vision is a robot.
Kind
Like he is an AI enabling a robot that is able to put a human shell over himself that is 18 years older than Elizabeth Olsen, and that just really grosses me out.
But he's worthy enough to lift Thor's hammer.
That's
Doesn't
true.
that make him
That's
have
all
a
you
soul?
No, I had a comment that I texted Katie, and it is just so mean. I'm not gonna say it. I'll send it privately to you all later. But I'm not a fan of Vision, and honestly, Wanda and Vision kind of ruined Infinity War for me.
Wow.
I mean, Infinity War started with I think they were really out of character with Thor and Loki from the beginning, and even Thanos, and that was like from the start. I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing in Infinity War?" So I had trouble accepting anything based on Wanda and Vision because I honestly they just really weird me out, and I don't find them appealing. Also, just to clarify, I really do love old-timey shows. I also love I Love Lucy. And I mean, I loved Bonanza growing up. And a lot of the jokes in that, though, I knew they weren't as clever as a joke that you might see on a show that we would have now, such as Community or Parks and Rec. But it was a product of its time, so I can forgive kind of some of the dumb, simple humor. But the jokes that they had in those shows were still more complex, and the writing was more clever than the writing I was seeing in WandaVision. The jokes were not solid, if that makes sense. They felt like a lazy, quick writing. It was something where somebody wrote over a weekend instead of really taking the time to plan out a fun joke with a good delivery that you would see, like with Dick Van Dyke and the fake eyelashes, which was always my favorite episode. It felt really rushed. And overall, like, this entire series feels like a Tony Stark one-liner that somebody grabbed and turned and shoved into a TV show. They stretched it like Play-Doh until it became a TV show. Like, I could see Tony having a catchy line about something in Wanda's head and how she would love to be caught in every single sitcom in every decade. And then, like, somebody just grabbed it and stretched it way farther out than it could handle.
Stop it.
Yeah, and then my last note, I said, I can't.
Because Brad is Whoopi.
Right, no, Brad's Wendy Williams.
It's just... So going, like, I went in and I was like, you know what, this could be interesting. They might be fun with the costumes and things, but I think they took something from two different styles that do not mesh and really tried to force them together. They took the unique quality that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the unique quality that is those classic sitcoms that we always watched on Nick at Night. If you're an adult that had Nick at Night when it was black and white, and really just tried to shove them together in a way that, like, just does not match. And they just forced it down like a toddler with mismatching puzzle pieces.
Katie?
Disagree.
Derek, did you want to respond?
I was going to say.
Or anybody.
Please.
So you can't judge it by the standards of these actual great classic sitcoms because it's not actually trying to do that again. The writing and the jokes are not supposed to be as complex as that because it doesn't want us to draw us in like we're watching one of those old sitcoms. It's just meant to kind of...
Okay, but it should still be good enough to enjoy, and it doesn't have that.
I agree with Danae, but I got to stop Derek, but then it shouldn't go on for 25 minutes. All right.
Exactly.
Okay, but the story we're watching is not a sitcom story. Like, we have a little bit of a sitcom story within this broader story of some kind of surreal thing.
That needs to be one episode of a longer show. This felt like an episode of Star Trek where they're on the holodeck, which I loved those episodes, but they only needed to be, one episode long. They didn't need to be a whole effing season.
It's getting good.
I have a couple thoughts off of the.
We'll see. There's still more stuff to unfold, and I think we need to see if it actually gets more complex because they're probably going to have good reasons for it to be a full season. For one thing,
then they need to pick up the pace. They've already taken too long.
Yeah. Okay, Katie. Okay,
well, I'm still watching the second episode, so I'll get back to you on that. But there are things I'm having fun with, and there were a couple of jokes that I thought were genuinely very funny.
Derek, Katie's speaking.
You interrupted me twice, little sister. So
it's a nice presidential
finish
now.
Oh, now it's getting spicy.
Woo! It's a good thing you guys aren't sitting next to each other. Hey, let's do it. Go Katie and then Ben.
Wait, am I going now?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So this is echoing off of what Danae said, and then I'll add a few more thoughts about it because I know you guys all loved it. I did not love it. But as far as the pacing of things goes, I know some people do not think the pacing had problems. I personally am with Danae. When you have a show that only has 10 seasons or 10 episodes in a season, I think 2 episodes to kind of get you intrigued is too much. If there's a 22 episode season, it's a little different. You can take a little bit more time and pace it a little bit differently. But I feel like if they had just dropped 1 episode, it wouldn't have been enough to intrigue as many people as quickly. And I don't like when a show does that. Like, they think that they have to have a second episode to draw people in. That is personally how I felt. I know that some people may not think that, but I think if it had just had 1, I would have been like, I'm not interested in this. So that's my issue with a lot of shows in general. Some people will be like, oh, this show gets good if you keep watching. In episode 10, it gets great. I'm like, that's too damn long. You can't rely on like 10 episodes of a 20-episode season to get good. Like,
Question for you, Katie. If Supernatural did a full season of the Scooby Natural, would you watch that?
I think so, because they did a very good job at meshing the two.
But they also waited until like season 11 to introduce that idea.
Yeah, and also, I never watched Scooby-Doo. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to, and so it kind of, as an adult, I did appreciate it, and I think the people who did grow up on it would have loved it. It's just, for me, it's an ongoing thing, especially with Netflix shows, where it's like, if you need, and Hulu especially, Hulu always drops 3 episodes when they first drop their seasons. And I feel like it's like, you know that the first episode's not good enough to carry the whole season. And I just don't like that. And then my other thought is I am not like most of you guys. I did not really ever like old sitcoms. They weren't my cup of tea. I still don't watch a lot of sitcoms. I am more of a drama person. I don't watch a lot of comedies in general. So that's why I know that my opinion is different than y'all's. But that's my biggest thing, is it was hard for me to get in, and it was also so much different than anything I've seen, which, like I said, I respect that they're taking that risk, but for me, there wasn't a payoff, at least not yet. I am hoping that I will be proven wrong. There are certain things that I hope happen in this show that help, with what retconning stuff that they've done in the MCU and connecting things, and with the whole Fox and Disney merger, whole bunch of stuff they could do, a whole bunch of characters I hope they incorporate that will bring me more into it. But just as of now, I'm not sold.
So let's do Ben, and then we haven't really heard from Luke yet. So we need to.
Can I make one apology real quick? I'm so sorry. I did pull out my phone right before Katie started talking, but that was because I needed to text the con crew. So Katie, I am so sorry that I had my phone out while you were starting to talk. And Ben, I'm sorry to take your time.
Did you text us?
My time? No. So essentially, what I'm hearing Danae saying.
Wait a second. Can we share Danae's text?
Wait.
I'll let Ben share it. Right at the bottom.
Hold on.
It's pretty attractive.
She texted me yesterday.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Ben, this is her text. The best thing Vision did was die in Infinity War. Good Lord!
So essentially,
Jim said it, not me.
Essentially, here's what Danae said. Danae said, I hate pizza, so I've decided to become a pizza critic for the Los Angeles Times. That's what Danae just told us.
Basically.
Danae literally told us, I hated this show. But to be fair, I hate these characters and their entire storyline. So...
yeah. Kind of like, I hate pop music, so I'm going to be a judge on American Idol.
Right. Also, John Brown is a hero. Anyway... So what we're
I got a kick out of that. That was funny.
I think to Derek's point again, I will say, is it's not supposed to be a sitcom. The purpose of the Dick Van Dyke Show was to be a situation comedy. The purpose of Bewitched was to be a situation comedy. And the purpose of this is to emulate situation comedies to illustrate that something is very wrong. And first of all, this isn't a pilot of a new TV show. This isn't a pitch for new characters. This isn't a new storyline. This is a continuation of a storyline that we've had for going on 13 years now.
That's a good point.
And so it's not necessarily something. Yes, the jokes are not that clever. They made me chuckle a little bit just because I reveled in the nostalgia of it. The jokes were not funny. They're not really that clever or funny.
Right.
They're these.
And
So
Ben's
far,
a
there's been,
comedian.
one joke that I really laughed at in each episode. I think.
Right, yeah, but they're very set up and knocked down, very drab kind of one-liner, emulating what the 60s comedy was. But the illustration point here is that something is very wrong. We know what happened to Wanda and Vision in Infinity War and Endgame. Something is clearly very wrong. And Derek, the red light that was blinking in the first episode was the commercial, which I love the retro commercials that they've done for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was actually blinking red. Okay.
The red light was on the toaster. It was blinking red. And then at the end of the episode, we have a little bit of a reveal, which if you're familiar with the comics at all and with any of the news that's been coming out related to, I'll say it's somewhat related to S.H.I.E.L.D., somewhat related to when we last saw Nick Fury, I believe at the end of, was it?
Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel, yeah. We see these little reveals, and so I'm looking at this as like, okay, this is just a couple pieces of this storyline, and I am willing to bet money that there's going to be stuff that's going to throw back to all these dumb things we thought didn't have anything to do with anything in these first two episodes. Is it supposed to be a sitcom? No, it's supposed to illustrate that something is very, very wrong. And as far as that goes, knowing what Marvel's delivered so far, I'm hooked because I want to know what happens and what is wrong, because clearly Vision is dead. Vision is not alive. Where did he come from? What's he doing? And there was a key point when the plate crashes into his head and she says, "My husband and his indestructible head." Well, it's not indestructible. because Thanos crushed it in Infinity War.
Yep.
Best thing Thanos ever did.
I do think, though, that I have a couple of theories, but I want to get to Luke first. And Luke, why don't you introduce what your mom said? Because I think it's a cool quote.
Yeah, my mom here left a nice quote. And I will say, we grew up watching Nick at Night. We didn't have cable, but when we'd go on vacations, we did have cable. So we'd watch a ton of Nick at Night when we travel and see relatives, especially in New Mexico, which was a place we had some relatives. So I watched a lot of I Love Lucy and all that. But my mom said one of the fun things is that the series can be watched with multi-generations. Some of the gaps of Marvel characters and storylines can be explained by the younger generation, and the feel of the older shows can be filled in by the older folks. I can see 3 generations of my family enjoying this together. So she likes the fact that these
That's
can
cool,
kind of
though.
bring the old school, like the grandparents, the parents, and the grandkids all together, and it is cool. I think so as well. And being a fan, and I'm kind of more the middle one, watching the Nick at Night and everything. I think it is fun, but yeah, don't know exactly how the grandkids responded to it yet. Would be interested in kind of their opinion of it, but I'm sure they enjoyed it somewhat as well. But now my review is, I did enjoy it as a fan of those different things. Very similar to Ben's review of what he was saying growing up on everything. But yeah, just as far as expectations go, it was kind of a little different. I thought there would be a little more of the knowingness of it going into it. And as a screenwriter, like I kind of almost feel like at least one character, and I think, and it looks like as it goes based on on how the trailers go, that eventually characters will know kind of a little bit of the other world, because she says you're dead or whatever in the trailer. Because I would like, more of a fish out of water, kind of like Pleasantville was, where say like Wanda is trying to find within the technology universe and connect with Vision and see if she can bring him back out into maybe like a new body or some sort of thing, or I don't know exactly what it's doing, but it would be kind of nice to see someone having to kind of live in there and try to like blend in that environment while trying to get Vision out or something. To me would have been a little more interesting, to be a little more knowing of what we know about Endgame, Infinity War, and all that stuff, and then going back in there like and being trapped in this. And even if they like kind of like brought more of their lives before kind of into it, of like, didn't I have a best friend named Steve, or like just different types of things. Or I think throughout their storyline they could have brought more of that in, or even some of these other characters. But I know it costs way too much money to bring in like the official Avengers and everything. And it was cool how we'd hear that voice calling to Wanda. It almost sounded like Captain America. And so I don't know what you guys thought about that, but that was something that definitely stuck out to me.
I couldn't figure out who it was either.
Some people have been saying it sounded like Paul Rudd. Some people have been saying it sounded like Steve Rogers. I'm not sure who it was.
Well, it is interesting. Chris.
Chris Evans.
Chris. Which one is it? The Chris Evans. He's been signed to come back and play Captain America in some capacity. Nobody knows what it is yet. So who knows?
I have thoughts on that, which I forgot to share earlier, but I'll wait till Derek says his thoughts on this.
Could I please give a rebuttal to Mr. Cleaver?
Are you what, Cleaver or Luke? Luke was talking.
Mr. Cleaver.
Okay,
we jumped in because Luke didn't get to talk yet. Okay, first of all, I think that yes, this is steering in a new direction. So no, it is not a pilot. It is a continuation. But that new direction. Hey, Amanda. That new direction is so extreme that it needs a better setup. And just to copy what I said, I think it felt like an episode of of Star Trek when they're on the holodeck. It was something that could have been condensed so much more. It was like it was just stretched out too far, and it took too long to explain things. Also, no, I'm not a fan of WandaVision, but I am a very big fan of Loki. I have a lot of Loki merchandise, and I was honestly underwhelmed with the Loki trailer when it came out. I'm still excited for the show, and I'm excited to give a talk back with you guys after it comes out. But I think that Disney Plus Marvel just hasn't delivered as much as we wanted it to.
Wait. I would like to just do a little bit of a response. And I'm not going to talk much tonight. I don't want to give a lot of opinions on this show. But there's a lot to like about this show, a whole lot. I'm a Marvel fan. I'm a Marvel fanatic, and I'm hooked. I will be there to the end. And I know I've shown this before. The very first comic book I ever bought. This is Wanda right there, 1979, and she is my favorite female superhero. And Vision, right, her husband, they're married in this comic book. And as a little kid, it was weird to me as well when it was explained that he was a synthetic human. And when I was like such and such an age, I was like 10 or 8 or whatever, however old I was when I bought this. And I was like 10. And I was thinking, how does that work? It confused me because I barely knew birds and bees. And then this comes out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. So it just kind of threw me. So I get that. However, Vision, I used to like to draw, and Vision was my favorite character to draw as a kid. So I love him. I love his cape. His cape is my favorite cape in all of fandom. But I do have to say this. What's cool about the series, I do like, it's a very unusually unique idea. Like, let's celebrate all the sitcoms through the years. I've got to come down on Luke and Danae's side on a big issue, though. And that's that I did enjoy it. But from a writer's perspective, I didn't think we needed 25 minutes to 30 minutes of stick to get to 1:30 seconds of dun dun dun. It just took too long to get there, and I think that is kind of the reason they released 2 episodes at one time. I think both these episodes could have been condensed into 1 episode. I know they've celebrated 2 kind of different genres, but it was the same story almost. And then they had this magic show in the 2nd episode where they kept on doing magic trick after magic trick. I'm like, this is going on for a while. And I do wish that they would have made, and I get Derek's point. The point wasn't that the jokes were supposed to be like I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke funny. And I do agree with Ben. Dick Van Dyke is, to this day, one of the most elegantly written shows ever made. It's amazing. It's one of the most amazing shows out there. I wish they would have. Dick Van Dyke was a consultant on this. I wish they would have had a little bit of that elegance. Although I did like when Vision walks into the living room and he sees the ottoman and he jumps around it, just like Dick Van Dyke did in the original series. Or did he jump? Or
no, doesn't he walk through it?
He walks through it.
He just phases right through it.
Right. So I think it was well done. And you pointed something out, Ben, that changed my mind about something, because I was about to say, when I saw the first episode of The Mandalorian, I got to the end of the first episode of The Mandalorian, my mind was blown. The Disney company was saved. It was Star Wars was saved for me in that first episode of Mandalorian. The first episode of WandaVision, I was like, next. Let's see. Hopefully there's something more happens in the next one. I don't think they were bad episodes. I think they were indulgently long. Indulgently, there's very little plot on first blush than there should have been. But that being said, I'll let you guys finish. I do want to talk about some of the Easter eggs that were in there that they actually made these 2 episodes much more plot heavy than what we realized. For example, let me just give you one. The commercial in episode 1, the blinking light, the red blinking light on top of Tony Stark. When's the last time Wanda saw a blinking light on a Tony Stark device?
That would have been Age of Ultron, right?
Yeah, it's what killed her parents. A Tony Stark bomb blinking right in front of her face. So that's in her head right now. So I think we are seeing a manifestation of Wanda right there. And also, somebody said, I think it was Ben or somebody, about Vision's head got crushed and it killed him. Yes, that's true. Vision has died a couple times in the comics too. But the computer program that is Vision, is it gone?
Yeah,
we don't know. Perhaps Wanda's bringing that back. And I thought it was interesting that Vision.
Didn't Ultron almost strangle him or kill like his programming in Avengers 2? But then he was still found again. Because it looked like he was almost like a virus, like kind of destroyed him. But then there was part of him still there that Tony found and brought him back or something.
Who, you talking about Vision?
Yeah, well, before he was Vision, right?
Didn't Ultron destroy Jarvis, which became Vision?
Jarvis. Yeah.
Right.
But I thought it was interesting that, because you notice that we switched over, because it wasn't all from Wanda's perspective. We switched and we went over to Vision's perspective. which made me think, maybe this isn't just Wanda's mind that we're looking through, or maybe Wanda was having a dream about what Vision was going through. But I was thinking, what if, because Vision's working at a place, it's called computational forms. He does it faster than anybody, but he can't figure out what it is he's supposed to be creating, where he came from, why he's there. What if, this is a theory, I have no inside knowledge. What if Vision's consciousness, his program, is trying to find its way back? What if it's putting itself back together? Mm-hmm. But I'm going to throw it back to you guys to finish up your. But I have a couple of Easter eggs here I do want to throw out at you before we end this part of the show.
Really quickly, I do want to take the moment to say we've still only seen 20% of what they have to offer us. So I'm thinking this is just a long Marvel movie, and I wouldn't be like, after the first 20% of a Marvel movie, be like, meh. So I'm waiting. It's because of what they've done in the past that I'm waiting to be like, okay, I'm waiting for this to pay off. I'm waiting for whatever to come. And so that's one reason I'm so excited about it. And I forgot the other thing I was going to say.
If I have one final thought to this debate, it's that if you make something that everybody loves or everybody hates, then you didn't make something well. Like you didn't do something right along the way, if that makes sense. Like, I think you really do need to have that debate with inside fandoms, have the disagreements. So, yeah, I didn't love it. It wasn't my cup of tea. I think it could have been better, and I would have enjoyed it more, even though I don't like those characters. But I don't think I'll stick around to see what happens.
Brad had a comment. He goes, I think the show is an attempt from Marvel, and he's kind of agreeing with Danae, to make the two most boring characters in the Avengers films more interesting.
Thank you, Brad.
Well, I think that's MCU's fault too, though. I mean, Wanda is a very, very fascinating character. The movies have not done her justice. So I know that someone mentioned that earlier. So in some ways, that's not necessarily the show's fault.
Yeah.
Because Wanda has a lot of potential that we have not even seen on the movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Guys, I have a lot of trust in Marvel. I think, and we've seen some of the trailers for what's going to come. I think the series is going to turn out to be monumentally good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. And I will say this, like, every complaint that people have mentioned so far are things that I fully expected to see based on the trailer. I was expecting this to be a slow burn. I was expecting it to be like a bit of a homage to the sitcoms without really being just like them and being as funny as that. And to Brad's point, no, neither of them is anywhere near as boring as Captain Marvel. And then has been waiting his turn, and he needs to go.
Yeah. I remembered what else I was going to say. So Junior over at that hashtag show, great guy. Yeah. He had the opportunity to preview the whole season. And he told me, he did not spoil anything for me, but he told me that in episode 3, stuff really takes off and gets wild. So that's one thing that I'm looking. And I knew that going into 1 and 2. So maybe that's what I had in the back of my mind of being like, oh, I'll accept these first 2 episodes in the state they're in because I know it's going to get wild in episode 3. Maybe that could contribute to it too.
I actually have episode 3. I have the screener. I was going to share it, but you know what? I just thought it was fair for us to be reviewing it as everybody else saw it. So I think that's a fair way to do it. But that being said, I did hear from Disney publicity that episode 3 really ramps it up. Like, because I talked with them this week a little bit of some of the folks, and I said, I think it's good, but it just seems almost too slow. It didn't hook me. And they said, just wait for episode 3. That's not the best response for someone who wants to get hooked on episode 1 and 2. I thought episode 1 and 2 were fine. Amanda has.
I don't know what's wrong with everybody else.
We're not as smart as you. In all fairness, says Amanda, Disney and Marvel have been saying for the last year that this was going to be something completely different than anything they've ever done. That is true.
Yes.
Well, I think we're all saying that. I don't think we're disagreeing with that. But I think the biggest thing is I get that, but I just don't know that it was executed as well as it could have.
Oh, yeah.
been.
Today's Amanda's birthday. That's right.
Happy birthday, Amanda.
Happy birthday, Amanda.
Happy birthday.
Also, just to bounce off of what Katie just was saying earlier, Wanda has so much potential, and I really get frustrated with the fact that, like, and you guys are all gonna just shoot me for saying this, but that all of her stories have been around what happens to a man in her life when she has potential to do all these cool other things. It's her brother dies, and then what happens to her boyfriend. And I'm not crazy about that when she could be doing so many cool things.
True, and I'll be honest with you, I have never in my life known Wanda Maximoff apart from Vision. I think they've always been like everybody's laughing. Did I miss something?
Yeah, apparently it's not her birthday, but why did someone say happy birthday?
I don't know. Brad.
Being a troll.
Okay, whatever. Happy unbirthday, Amanda.
Wait, no, we're just the first to wish your happy birthday.
That's it.
Yeah, we're just ahead of everybody else.
Right,
In September, Amanda. We already said.
It's a very belated birthday.
Or very early.
I think I saw it on Facebook too. Anyways, hey, by the way, I do want to show you something real quick because we do have to zoom here. This comic book, here's something on the first page that I want to show you guys. Let me see if I can get it over here. I'll just stand up. Do you see that picture? Hey, Luke, can you make it full page?
Where are we at?
Luke, you do it all the time.
Okay, here we go. So can you guys? So that's Wanda's brother, and that is a cow, a talking cow. No. The cow's name is Boba. When we were
Quicksilver and Boba?
Bova, Boba, you know, like a bovine. So Boba that was kind of like the nanny that raised Wanda and her brother when they were growing up. The animated WandaVision opening part.
Did she also nurse them?
Anyways, the animated WandaVision opening for the second episode.
It's a cow. I mean,
they throw back to Bewitched, which was really cool. But you'll notice in the opening, it contains a reference to Wanda's childhood. They're in a grocery store. And you see a poster for, kind of gross, Bova milk. It's kind of cool the way that they have that. And she's the midwife. She helped to deliver Wanda and her brother Pietro when they were little kids. Also in that grocery store, this is a clue. There's a sign in there called Auntie A's Kitty Litter. You'll see it. By the way, I'm not giving spoilers. This was in the animated opening. Auntie A is a reference to another member of the comic supporting cast, the ancient witch Agatha Harkness and her cat-like familiar named Ebony, which might make you wonder about Catherine Hahn's neighbor who happens to be named Agnes.
That's what people have been theorizing. And by the way, I love Catherine Hahn, and I think the casting to have her in this is so good. I love her expressions and just the interaction with her and how she's showing up.
She's fantastic. She's so good.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Aged in like 20 years. But I did want to say one more comment, and I have to say I hope that they elaborate more on this. The one message that I did really appreciate about this show is this is her grieving. She's literally grieving right now, and she's so far gone.
Amanda, we can all agree there.
Yes.
So I hope that we do get more commentary on grief is not the same for everybody. Grief shows many different forms, and I hope that they don't miss that opportunity because that is one of the strongest points that I got from these episodes.
Hey, Luke, you had something to say.
Yeah, my final thing I wanted to say is I'm looking forward to when conventions return, cosplay and all that, because I think there's a lot of cosplay and a big couples cosplay that come from this. And I just want to show this picture here of the magic show. I expect to see this if there is some meeting up this year. I bet some people will do the couple cosplay of when they did the magic show of Wanda and Vision.
Yes.
Her look in that scene.
Ben, you should try this one.
I was living for her look in that scene.
Oh, it looks great. Can we just say it? She was strikingly, wonderfully beautiful in every frame of the series. I mean, thank God for her. But anyways, I'm just fanboying. Just real quick, I'm going to go through a couple more things. This one's the important one, the helicopter. And Derek, you saw the helicopter.
Yeah.
It was in Technicolor. It was the same color as Tony Stark, his Iron Man outfit. Mm-hmm. But it also bears a logo on the side. And Ben, I think you might have mentioned this or something. Do you know what the logo was?
Well, it appeared to be the logo of SWORD, which is essentially, in very distilled terms, it's Space Shield. It's I believe it's the Sentient World Observation and Reconnaissance Division or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And
That sounds right.
but it involves alien races, and they've been talking about now they're going to bring the mysticism and a lot more of the alien stuff, like the other planet stuff, intergalactic stuff, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe now.
Yep.
Is that including Inhumans?
Well, yeah, they did the show.
Yeah, it got canceled.
Good.
I don't think we'll see much more. I don't think we're going to see much more of the Inhumans.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Inhumans was a name they were using because they could. I mean, they were a thing, but Marvel was not allowed to use the word
Mutant.
Yeah.
No, they can now, though.
By the way, Sword, Ben just mentioned what it is. While Sword keeps its eyes on the skies, the sister agency SHIELD monitors threats to the ground. There was one character who was introduced in episode 2 through, keep it Monica Rambeau. We saw her in episode 2. Why is that significant? Do you guys know who that is?
She's Captain Marvel's friend.
Yes.
Oh.
Was she was she the friend or was she the daughter? Wait.
Or sorry, was she the daughter?
I might be wrong there. She's either
No, I think that's the friend.
Yeah,
I think that's the friend, the other fighter pilot friend.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch Captain Marvel again, but that means I have to watch Captain Marvel again.
Exactly.
It's not that bad. Okay, better break real quick.
I kind of liked Captain Marvel because I also reveled in the 90s nostalgia, but whatever.
I was on set for a couple of days when they were filming, and it was cool to see the Also, this episode, the second episode, the Strucker Watches, Derek mentioned that Strucker is important in Wanda's life because in the MCU, it's the name of the man who experimented on her and her brother, giving them their mutant powers.
I figured that name was important, and I couldn't remember why.
Yep.
And see, for me, that's the thing that I'm most hoping the show does, is it finally gives us the chance to see mutants in the MCU, because we have not been able to see mutants in the MCU due to the rights issues. But now that Fox is owned by Disney, we can now hear Wanda referred to as a mutant and learn about other mutants.
That would be really cool.
In this world, she's created this whole world, and all I want to do is, I'm like, if she's making this world and Vision is alive and all this stuff, couldn't Quicksilver also come back?
Yes, and here's the biggest clue as to possibly what we're seeing. When Wanda magically saves dinner, the wine that she was pouring is a fine wine from, and I can't speak French very well. I can't speak it at all. Maison du Mépris, which means house of contempt or scorn, but more importantly, it has a symbol on it. It's the symbol which represents House of M in the comics storyline, which is a comic book storyline about a traumatized Wanda who reshaped all of reality with her powers. She was suffering so much that she reshaped reality. By the end of episode 2, Wanda is suddenly and noticeably pregnant. Thus, our poster tonight, does WandaVision deliver? Did you guys like that? Wasn't that clever?
I got it later because I haven't seen that part of the episode yet.
You already knew that was going to happen, though.
It's in the picture.
But this episode.
Wait, again, how did a robot do that?
Anyways.
Yeah, today.
That's why
this storyline is from the Vision and Scarlet Witch in the 80s of the comic, which she magically.
What was that?
She magically gave birth to twins. The kids were sadly revealed to be fragments of the demon Mephisto.
I hate when that happens.
And this is what pushed Wanda into basically the multiverse of madness, Doctor Strange. So I think we're going to get this.
Oh, it's going to connect everything that's going on with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Yeah. And one little last thing, and then I'll be done with this. Blink and you might miss the moment that Vision walks through the door in the opening credits of episode 2. There are some things lying around when he walks through the door, some pipes, cobwebs, and a couple of bones in a dark shape that is the silhouette of a Marvel villain called the Grim Reaper. In the comics, he is the brother of Wonder Man, whose brainwaves were used in Vision's creation. In the 2015 series where Vision lives a suburban life, Grim Reaper showed up at his home and was killed by Vision. But anyways, so There's a lot of clues here. It's kind of very, very cool. Very cool. Very cool. All right, guys, we do have
and someone on Twitch said that there was an Easter egg of Black Panther as well, which I didn't catch, so I'll have to find out what that was.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he's saying that. All right.
So they need to do a Fish Called Wanda homage.
Yeah, I guess so. Why?
I mean, not a sitcom, but a funny movie, and it would be funny.
All right, guys, we are going kind of long tonight, and we did promise people we would talk about this next section, but let's go ahead and end. All right, guys. So for WandaVision, I know Danae's going to stop watching. The rest of you guys, are we going to stick with it to the end?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Episode 3 will determine that for me.
Danae, could we possibly encourage you to reconsider?
I might watch episode 3 if I'm allowed to text you guys the whole time and make fun of it. As long as Ben doesn't promise to hate me after we acted like best friends and wore matching shirts tonight.
How about
I wrote a song about it and everything, and then he gets so mad at me for my lady opinions.
Hey, by the way, do one better. Why don't you live tweet when you're watching it? I would love to follow that.
Oh, I'm not on Twitter. Should I join Twitter?
Yes.
No. Twitter's the worst.
That's for another
I've been live
discussion.
tweeting my True Blood rewatch, so the answer is yes.
All right,
Okay,
guys.
maybe I'll get on Con Guy specific Twitter and just live tweet it.
We'll just give you access to the Con Guy Twitter page, and you can live tweet from there. Please don't embarrass us.
Take over.
Sign Danae.
Sign it. Yes.
Sign it. Yeah.
All right, guys. That is what we think of WandaVision. WandaVision continues every Friday on Disney Plus for the next, how many episodes is it? 8. So next 6 weeks. Next 6 weeks. And then followed very quickly thereafter by the next Marvel production, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier. I don't know why they put the "thes" in there.
Yeah, I don't know why they put the "does" in there either. It bothers me.
Okay. I think it's just easier to put on a poster. All right.
No, it's not.
All right. Thank you, Marvel. We are enjoying it. All right. Let's talk briefly about conventions. And this, by the way, could be a contentious discussion, but it's not going to be. I'm going to preface it with this. For those of you watching, those of you listening, we are not saying to go or not to go to conventions. We are going to discuss these are conventions that have been scheduled. Please use your own best judgment. We are not responsible for any of you catching anything while you are there. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened.
That's Vision's head.
No, Ben was doing Hamlet.
Wait.
Yeah.
Ben, hold your hand out again. There you go.
Other one. Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
To go. Or not to go. Actually, that's the wrong. This would be Alasport convention. I knew them well.
All right. So we have got a lot of news coming from hopefully trusted sources that so far the rollout of the vaccine is in the millions upon millions, and it is hitting frontline workers and those in elderly long care facilities first, as well as should. What is Ben showing us?
He's showing us Shakespeare.
It's my bookmark from when I did A Midsummer Night's Dream on Zoom with Derek and Danae.
That was so much fun. Oh, I miss
Uh-oh.
Zoom Shakespeare. Not as much as I miss real theater.
So we do have some conventions. By the way, as we all know, the last convention that I attended was perhaps, I think Ben said was his as well, and I think was Luke's. And I don't know if Katie was there, Long Beach Comic Expo last year in January 12th through the 15th, I think it was.
I was not.
Oh,
I didn't go to that one. I went to Gallifrey 1, the Doctor Who convention in LA over Valentine's Day weekend a year ago. That was the last convention I went to. Yeah.
It's a year ago. So one of the cool, I don't want to, never mind. Let me rephrase it. One of the metaphors that people have used, I don't want to call it cool, for the virus has been Jaws. You know, that you've seen, you know, the whole Jaws metaphor of, you know, don't go in the water, Jaws will kill you type stuff, you know, for the virus, you know, don't go out to parties, don't do things that will hurt you or hurt other people. And so I guess since the Jaws was used as the metaphor all summer, the topic of this part of the discussion is just when you thought it was safe to go back into a convention center. Or something like, I don't want to make light of this. And Ben, you've talked to us before. Do you have any idea? Could you give us like a baseline? Where are we at as far as the world and the virus right now, as far as what you know?
Well, as far as I know, and just to expand on my qualifications, I don't know. The Sam's kids, their mom's a
epidemiologist.
Epidemiologist. I was going to say pandemiologist. No, that's not right.
Close enough.
So I work for the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. That has become my job since COVID. I have never worked. Well, I've worked for anyway. That's beside the point. So what I'm seeing now is we are preparing for the vaccine rollout, which is great. Everything that I've read on the vaccine, I know there's there's skepticism, there is perhaps mistrust, or at the very least skepticism because it has come out so quickly. The basis of it, from what I understand and what I've read from the CDC and other departments, is that it is an mRNA vaccine. It has used parts of the existing virus to create this, but it is it's more of a vaccine that instructs your cells to create a certain type of protein that mimics or is exactly like the protein that the virus produces, so that your system can recognize it, but it's not actually injecting the virus into your body like some previous vaccines. Many previous vaccines have injected a dead or partial virus in your body to create an immunity. Science! One important thing is that this does not affect your DNA. People have been concerned that they're saying, oh, this is going to rewrite my DNA and I'm going to turn into a monkey person. That's not going to happen. It would be cool if it did. And now I want to write a Teen Wolf-esque movie based on getting a vaccine and turning into a monkey person.
That sounds kind of amazing.
It's called Planet of the Apes.
Okay. I think the important thing to remember is that, some people have been kicking this around of like, once you get the vaccine, you're not immediately immune. That's a thing. Your immune system has to adapt to it. It has to recognize it. It has to build up immunity. And then most of the ones that are out now, they're developing some single shot ones, but most of them are double shot ones. So you have to get a shot, wait a month, get a second shot, and then wait another 2 weeks. At that point, it is then 90 to 95% effective, which means probably about 1 out of every 20 people who gets the vaccine may still get coronavirus. And the symptoms could be anywhere from mild to severe.
But that is still a much higher effectiveness than a lot of other vaccines. Most of them are in like the 70, 80% range.
Right.
I'm so sorry, Ben. Please keep
going. No, you're fine. Please. I feel a bit on the spot, but that's okay.
I like to do that.
So I do think it is important that people aren't just like, just got my shot, walking straight into the bar or something like that.
Don't do that.
Please don't do that. Because it is important that we all get in on this and we all work at this together in order to beat this. Because now we've kind of proven as a human race we can do it, but we got to get on the same page. And if everybody does that, which they won't, but if everybody did that, we could potentially be going back to, and depending on the supply, we could be potentially going back to cons this year. I don't know if that's going to happen, and it also depends on just the visuals of it. Is San Diego going to be like, yeah, we'll open back up if people are still going to the ICU, if people are still in emergency rooms, if hospitals are still at 50%, capacity of only COVID-19 people, So it's really going to depend on the optics. It's going to depend on the statistics. It's going to depend on how everybody individually responds to it. So I guess the biggest thing I can encourage people to do is, the vaccine skeptics seem to be more comfortable with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine coming. Hopefully that will ease more people into the idea of getting it. Thank you, Brad. Johnson & Johnson's reporting, I think theirs is supposed to be a single shot. I think. I could be wrong on that, but I'm not but I think that's what I read. Johnson & Johnson, another big pharmaceuticals company, Pfizer, They make PP pills. So, they've been doing that for years.
Moderna?
And Moderna. Yeah, Moderna has been doing it for a while. So, there has been, I think the reason it's come out so quickly is it has been so important and it has affected the entire world.
Also, this is actually not that quickly for a vaccine. This is about the same timeline as the H1N1 or swine flu vaccine and most flu vaccines.
Oh, okay. Seriously? Because I had always heard that vaccines take like 5 to 7 years to develop. So I just learned something tonight. I love it. And I do want to say this, and I agree with what Ben's saying. I just want to emphasize it. Like, there are people that are going to have very serious concerns about taking the vaccine. Okay, that's fully understood. But hopefully there are enough of us that will take it. I want to be first in line when it's available to me.
Mm-hmm.
None of us are doctors. None of us are scientists. We're all repeating our opinions and repeating what we've read.
Please do not. Yeah. And that's why we don't want to give medical information or even numbers. I just want to, I'm just excited that vaccines, through the use of vaccines, we've basically gotten rid of mumps from America. Mm-hmm. We've kind of gotten rid of measles. We
eradicated smallpox
and polio and things. We've seen some of that stuff come back in spots where we don't want to get into that debate, but some of it has come back. But you know what? This is a good thing. We are about to eradicate one of the most deadly things that's ever hit the world. And no, Stephen. Stephen Lemieux is with us. Tune into my vaccine unboxing video.
Put Stephen's other comment up there. Put his first comment up there.
Just saying, hey guys, waiting on footage to transfer.
Not that one, the other one.
Oh, wait. So the COVID vaccine works the same as Viagra?
Because you said Pfizer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I said they make PP pills.
Okay. That being said, the best guesstimate.
My mom's still watching, by the way.
Oh, very cool. So yeah, okay. So we don't know.
He doesn't know.
So none of us know when we'll be able to go back to conventions. Let's just say that right in front. We don't know. But here are some conventions that are coming up soon. We don't know, but we suspect that WonderCon is not going to happen this year, guys. It's usually very close to Easter weekend. It's perhaps my favorite convention of the year because San Diego I love, but sometimes it's too hard. WonderCon I absolutely cherish. I cherish WonderCon. But after that, the first of the big conventions happening is Memorial Day weekend, which is so iffy. 5/28. That's the Phoenix Fan Fusion, which is one of the largest in the country. They usually have like 100,000 attendees. After that, in August 12th, MegaCon Orlando. September 2nd, DragonCon is scheduled. September 10th, Rose City Comic Con is scheduled. In October is New York Comic Con, and then we think December. And Amanda, if you're still on, I think that's when LA Comic Con is there towards the end of the year. And Amanda did have an interesting thing, and I let's just share this real quick because she put some effort into this. California has opened up vaccination to anyone 65 and older, but there aren't enough vaccines to go around, and due to allergic restrictions, the Moderna vaccine has 330,000 doses distributed to 287 providers across the state that cannot be used. One of my coworkers who works security in a hospital got the first dose of the vaccine over 2 weeks ago and was supposed to receive the second dose, but they ran out. And I also know that California is having a problem distributing all of their vaccines, because they don't have refrigeration that can handle all the vaccines we've been given yet. So come on, California, we've got it. Let's make sure we get it to people. We have closed down Dodger Stadium as a testing site. It is now becoming a mass distribution site. And speaking of Disneyland, it's now a mass distribution site for the vaccine, which is very cool. Anyways, guys, I just read a list of conventions. What's your best guesstimate of when, I don't know, either when you would be comfortable or when you think people will be comfortable going back to a convention?
I would be comfortable going to a convention after getting the vaccine Because, but the thing is, we do know the vaccine prevents you from getting coronavirus, but we do not know if it prevents you from spreading it. So I would be comfortable getting a vaccine and then going with other people who have received the vaccine, but still in heavily trafficked areas, spreading out and wearing a mask. That's my answer.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to get a new camera.
Yeah, I was.
Another great. I was like, we've gone so long without Ben freezing, and then we finally
freezes it on such a great pose every time.
Yeah.
You're just so photogenic, Ben.
Yeah, he looks like he's just thinking.
That's such a great shot of Ben. Hey, Danae, to add to a question on that, and anyone else who wants to answer, you said that you would be comfortable going if you got the vaccine after it was able to set in. I don't know how many weeks or a month or how long that takes. But you say you'd be comfortable if everybody else around you kind of had the vaccine.
Yeah.
Would you guys be comfortable with vaccine passports? That's a touchy subject.
That's a difficult question.
Signifies you were vaccinated.
Because that's just a whole nother level of questionnaires. Yeah. And it's hard because like how much should we let our freedoms be restricted? Because as much as I think vaccines are important, there's some people of a lot of different religions that do not agree with that. And they have the right as an American to say no. Right. And that's why it's all the more important that when you do believe in a vaccine, you get one so as to protect the rest of the herd. But do I feel comfortable with the government deciding whether or not I can travel? I don't think I have an answer to that. Well, I do think.
Let's not get to that one. Maybe it's like, can a private convention require a vaccination?
Well, if it's your own private property, you can require us all to wear red hats if you want to. So that's a whole other thing.
Pick a different color.
Purple hats.
There you go.
Polka dotted hats.
As far as it comes to conventions, if they need me to show that I've been vaccinated so that I can go to a convention and to try to keep everybody safe, I'm personally okay with it. And I would feel more comfortable knowing that everybody there was responsible and taking everybody else's public health in consideration. I would still wear a mask. I still think that we are going to still have to do certain things just to still be more safe. I had no problem. I've been wearing a mask for almost a year now. I've been back at work for 6 months to 7 months now, and I'm just kind of like, it's part of my uniform now. That's kind of the way I see it. So I think it is possible. I think it's going to take a lot of planning on the conventions. I think it's the responsibility is also going to be fall on to the conventions, whether or not I'll go. It's going to be getting out the information about exactly what is going to go down and what is going to be put in place health-wise, and based off of that information, I would be able to choose if I'm going to go or not. That because it is going to be fall on them as well for that responsibility.
Derek.
Yeah.
July 22nd through the 25th, San Diego Comic-Con 2021. Yes or no?
I mean, it just depends on what happens between now and then. Like at the moment, I am kind of like, I'll take what precautions I can, and I just kind of have to live my life. As far as going to San Diego Comic-Con, it would just depend on how things are between now and then and what precautions they're taking, and what precautions I'm able to take myself. I mean, like washing hands frequently, wearing a mask, that at least does something. And I will probably have a vaccine by then. I know there are limitations on some things, but also like as foster parents, since we have to interact with foster children and families, we might be able to get one sooner than we would otherwise if we weren't doing that. It just kind of depends. But yeah, and as far as because we don't really know if the vaccine will help prevent us from spreading it to others, I'm really uncomfortable with the idea of saying you have to have a vaccine before you can come in here. If we don't even know that it actually does help, it might, but it's kind of, and also it is a question of what can someone do with their personal space, and some of that's also though, okay, we don't have laws saying this, but if our whole culture is demanding it, how is that any different from having a law saying so? There's a whole lot we could talk about in that, but we're not going to because that's not what this podcast is about. Me personally, me personally, I don't necessarily have a problem getting the vaccine. If I'm just trying to go to the store and somebody's like, show me your papers, I'm very comfortable with that, wherever I am, private or public. Like if I want to go to my friend's house and they're like, you can't come in here unless you show me your vaccination paperwork, then I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were friends. So like it's just a little difficult. You know what I mean?
I agree. By the way, Ben is still part of the conversation, even though he has a portrait of himself here.
I am. I'm going to turn this into an oil painting. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a fairly progressive type. I was going to say, as far as somebody needing me to register paperwork or register that I have received the vaccine in order to go to a convention or something like that, I said the only way that I would really be comfortable with doing that is if they had people screaming at me in German that they needed to see my papers. Just like, show me your papers. No, I think it is, as far as what I'd be comfortable with, if I got the vaccine. See, the catch here is I'm in the opposite situation of Derek. My wife and her parents live very close to us, and we interact with them a lot, and they're both over 65. And so, they're going to be eligible to get the vaccine, but again, it depends on what's available. And eventually we're going to be able to. I don't think that I'm going to receive any special treatment working for the county because I work from home, so I don't actually work in an office. So I think I'm in the same boat as everybody else.
And you're healthy.
And I'm a healthy 30-something-year-old guy. I'm 36. My wife was like, "Are you 35 or 36?" I was like, "I'm 36." She's like, "Geez." I think it's just, again, I'm just echoing what everybody else said. I think it just depends on what the situation is surrounding everything, what the convention's doing, what the culture is doing, and where I'm at as far as having a vaccination and the people close to me in my life. Am I going to feel comfortable risking going out and being among a bunch of strangers after this? And I'm going to keep wearing a mask for a while after this is all said and done.
So, Ben, let me ask you this. Your best guesstimate, maybe not you personally, but San Diego Comic-Con, will it happen this year? July, the last part of July, which is
to be honest, I'd say it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. It's such a big convention. Are they gonna limit it? Are they gonna limit it to half capacity? Is that gonna be a huge issue? Because it's already a huge issue getting people in there at full capacity.
Yeah.
So are they gonna risk that in being controversial, dare I say? Or I don't know. That's a tough one. Like I said, it's a toss-up.
It's hard to know because everything's changing every day. And so we really won't know possibly until March, April, May how things are going.
And and depending on what the hospital capacity is at that point, are they going to want an influx of 300,000 people into San Diego?
Right. Because, last year, this past summer, the convention center became basically a hospital.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Can I just make one comment because we are the con guy? I mean, we are all obviously so into science fiction and all these other neat things, but just how wild is it, just the science of the world that we're living in, that we've been able to develop this vaccine already and that we just lay out these plans. No, it's awful that this virus happened, but just our reaction to it and just the way the healthcare world has worked around it is just fascinating to me. What seems like science fiction is happening in real life in our response to it. And I think that's what's amazing about us as humans is how we can fight back and keep living.
Yep.
And how so many people and businesses were able to respond. Like you had so many companies just shifting and usually make t-shirts. We're going to make masks now. And other big companies started manufacturing ventilators and things like that. And N95 masks. You had people just shifting gears to try and, for one, businesses, had to survive, but also they're trying to keep the world alive. And so many people independently were just trying to do things to help cheer each other up. Thank you, John Krasinski, for pointing out so much of that. Too. Yeah. John Krasinski would play video clips of just neighborhoods where people were doing things and doing drive-by parties and stuff, just to try and make things brighter. And as Danae was saying, we saw that a lot from a lot of people. Yes, there was a lot of nastiness too, and some people like built up their rage and put it out in a lot of angry political rants and all sorts of other stuff. But you saw some goodness coming out of people, and I think we'll still see more as things change. Like every time something horrible happens, you can see goodness too.
Yeah, and I just want to, those of you who are listening or watching, in case you feel as if we may stray into politics from time to time, just let you know, this show, these 6 hosts, we cover the entire spectrum of political opinions and beliefs. We each are at our own spot, and we're very diverse. So I don't want you ever to think we're coming at you from one opinion or the other, except for we love conventions, we love fandoms, and we just love encouraging people. And that's what we are all together on. And we want these conventions to continue. I love the fact that Ben and the Samblings have a little bit of insight into, vaccines and what's going on, and can kind of like clue us in.
And I think, a little bit.
Yeah, that's
a very tiny bit. Yeah.
A little baby bit.
Just a little bit. My best guess is that San Diego is the toss-up 50-50, and if they do have it, it's not going to be as in years past. It's going to be smaller.
I don't think it can be.
Yeah, and because it costs so much to put that on, that might mean they won't have it this year. I do think that Dragon Con in Atlanta is more of a possibility, as is Rose City Comic Con up in Seattle. And also, Southern California got hit particularly hard by the virus, and I think it's going to be it's going to take a little bit more time for this region to kind of recover, maybe a little bit slower than some other regions. So, well,
it's a very crowded region with a lot of people.
I think Orlando will have conventions first, as far as larger ones.
Probably.
Luke, and I'm sorry, Luke, I wanted to throw it up to you. What about you? Like, you think like MegaCon Orlando in August? I think that one's going to happen.
Yeah, I think Orlando are different regions that have opened up and have done okay so far. I think those ones will be first, but I think California will be slower just because it seems like we're doing the worst and the most behind.
Yeah, but we're coming back. We are coming back. Anyways, I want to kind of close on it up. Brad says, does this mean the attendees that don't normally shower once a month will now shower before Comic-Con?
I'll tell you that. Con-funk.
I think you're hoping for too much. By the way, thank you everybody for watching the Con Guy happy hour tonight. Cheeseman, where can people find you? It's right there, but just talk about yourself.
You can find me at Cheese on Couch on both Instagram and Twitter, and also on theconguy.com. Find Cheeseman.
Sure.
If you can find me, I've made a mistake, and so have you.
Don't look for Derek.
Shadow.
Clandestine now. And he's being for real. All right, Katie.
You can find me on all social media at KT_Christine, including Twitch and TikTok. I'm also doing a really special Twitch stream tomorrow night starting at 8 p.m. for about 4 hours to 6 hours. Haven't decided yet. I'm doing theme streams once a month, and I am doing Party Like It's 1999 theme tomorrow. I have some really fun stuff planned, so if you guys want to hang out, I'm going to do I have a costume contest going, so if you join the stream, I can tell you how to enter it. It technically ends at 6, but I'll probably extend it until this Twitch stream. And there's prizes and all sorts of stuff, so tune in.
Thanks, Brad. We all agree. If everybody can come together, we can be... Okay.
Perfect timing.
Freaking Brad, says Amanda. Danae.
You can find me on, if I can learn to do this right, there it is. You can find me on Instagram at DNAYS. And maybe on the Con Guy Twitter as I watch the next WandaVision. We'll see what happens.
Make it happen. It's going to happen today. It's going to happen.
The only way I would watch the show all the way through is if I was captured by the KGB and they wanted to learn all my secrets. And even then, it would take half an episode, and I would tell them everything they wanted to know.
And Ben's back with us. He's been there, but we can see him.
I got to get a new camera. Maybe I will by next week. Might be a couple weeks. We'll see. Hey, everybody. It's me, old buddy Ben. Well, wait. I'm late on this. So first, I wanted to share this. My wife and I had never seen the movie Johnny Mnemonic, and we watched it last night. And I think it was one of those things where since we didn't see it in the 90s when it came out, we were like... So we ended up turning it off after a little while. But it's
a movie that's so bad... It's unwatchable. It's a movie that's so bad, it's unwatchable.
That was an accident that I played twice, but we finally could use it.
Yeah, there you go. But The opening crawl. So first of all, we watched it yesterday because the movie starts January 17th, 2021. And I'm frozen again.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Maybe I just keep playing the gym clip.
Giant Mnemonic based in 2021?
The movie begins on January 17th, 2021. But it says Thursday for some reason. So that's one reason we decided to watch it, because I had read that it takes place on that date. So I'm like, oh, we've never seen this. Let's watch it. But the opening crawl starts off. Second decade of the 21st century. Corporations rule. The world is threatened by a new plague. And we were like, what is going on?
Are you serious?
Yeah, those are the first three sentences. Second decade of the 21st century. Corporations rule. The world is threatened by a new plague. And then it goes to say NAS, nerve attenuation syndrome, fatal epidemic. Its cause and cure are unknown. And then it goes on. Ice-T's in it. He plays a really weird character. Anyway, it was just funny.
This is not the second decade. This is the third decade.
I know, that's the other thing.
Of the 21st century.
And then it opens up and says, Thursday, January 17th, 2021. And we were like, yeah, 5 minutes of research could have determined that yesterday was not Thursday. But anyway, everybody, my name is Ben Cleaver. You can see my funny face frozen on the screen right now, but you can find me online at Twitter and Instagram at BENKLIEWER Cleaver. Hard to spell, easy to say, and remember, you can't see it, but I'm still drinking out of this red cup. And because I screwed it up. I'm always
that's your oil painting.
Hey Ben, why are you drinking out of that red cup?
Yeah.
Because whenever Ben Cleaver shows up, it's always a party.
It really is.
Oh.
And you can find me. Just go to theconguy.com. You'll find me there. Find me at James D. Fry on Instagram, Jim Fry LA on Twitter. And I just have to, and Brad has a good point. This is the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm this year. The Force will guide us back to convention so that we can celebrate Lucasfilm's 50th anniversary. Let's hope so, Brad. We hope so. And we are going to end this episode on Ryan, beloved Ryan Nielsen, excited about The Mandalorian. All right, guys, it's been a great show. We shall see everybody later. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.